Hey man, check it out. Oh yeah.
Hey man, come on, I'm trying to clean up around here. You just make up more mess. What do you got? There ain't $1 million in there.
Yes, it's the Power Probe hook, bro, and I know exactly what car we can go play with this new tool on.
Yeah? Can we go drive it?
Trust me, you're gonna love this. Okay, I know what you're thinking, man. You've seen Chris Challenger before.
Yeah.
70 Challenger, you gotta love it, man. It's a Mopar.
Oh, dude, the car is awesome. I mean, the outside looks great.
Yeah.
But it's the inside that I've seen before.
Hold on, you telling me that you're not willing or wanting to work on that? Ta-da! Look, hold on. Listen again.
I didn't hear it.
No,
I didn't hear that.
Hold on.
There's no angels singing.
No.
No, that's just Willie making funny noises.
All right.
Dude, there's not even enough cylinders, let alone there's just a rat's nest of junk under there.
Yeah, but that's coming out. The car is getting glossy and flossy. It's gonna have a big block in there. He's pushing it in and out. He needs our help, bro.
Well, he does need our help. And we've seen him sweating, pushing this thing around the shop as he kind of tinkers on it.
Come on.
And we do have a new tool. And if it'll make you stop singing. All right, let's close the hood. Let's push this thing into the shop. Let's put out the new goodies, and let's just dive in.
Let's dive in.
All right, come on, guys.
All right.
Come on, man. We need some
Would you
help.
put it in gear?
I think
Bro.
it's in gear.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, neutral helps.
We got the 70 Challenger in the shop. Took a little bit of sweat, but hopefully next time when it leaves, it won't be so sweaty.
You got that right.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little diagnostic. So first thing you wanna do, typical, check for fuel and spark. So let's see, Willie, why don't you go ahead and give that pedal a stab?
Anything?
Yeah, man, all right. So we got some fuel squirting out. So we know there's fuel, at least in the carb, getting to the carb.
Smells nice,
That'll
too.
at least get us fired. So why don't we go ahead and try for that spark part. So turn it over, dude.
All right. And nothing.
That didn't sound like much.
Yeah. Use the hook, man. Use the hook.
All right, good idea. Let's check for battery voltage. So
Right.
make sure that's good, and then from there we'll just work on our way down the line and see what we got.
Kev's getting out our new toy from Power Probe. It's called the Hook. It's a full-on diagnostics. It's a lot like Power Probe 3, but this one's bigger. It tells you all kinds of stuff, right, Kev?
Yeah. Now, immediately I can see my bottom line, 12.5 volts of battery. So I've got 2 lines of information. Now I'm going to be referencing this for a lot of the work I'm going to do, because I can put in one of my smart tips up here on the top. I've got a little flashlight, which is awesome. But now I can go around the vehicle and I can probe all sorts of different things and see reference to that 12.5 volt for a lot of them. So I can kind of watch and see how my circuits are doing, especially when some of them are scary as these. So I got my 20-foot lead here, so I can pass this thing around the vehicle. I can
Bring it over to me, man.
hand it over to you, and you got gauge cluster here. So let me show you the front side.
Now, the first thing I'm going to check in this gauge cluster is the amp meter. Now, this thing was an Achilles heel of the Mopars. 2 big critical points, always a failure on the Mopars, was the bulkhead, right? Because it's always exposed to the elements. You get a lot of dirt, debris, and corrosion in there. And the other Achilles heel was this guy right here, all right? And a lot of guys actually would just take a big wire, big heavy gauge wire, take it from the alternator over to the starter relay box and eliminate this hot wire coming into the cab. All your power is coming into the cab to the back of his amp meter. So let's check this with our hook, okay? So what I'm gonna do is just put the smart tip right on the end of this guy. And it should read, turn the speaker off. See, there you get the reference line, 12.5. So you know you're getting 12.5 volts there and 12.5 up here. And when I hit the hot shot button here on this little lightning bolt button, right, it gives it a 1 millisecond load, and that tells me that the integrity in the circuit is good to go. Hot shot pass. You see that right there? Now, if it wasn't a good source, if it had some broke wires or something like that, it would tell you right on that screen, hot shot fail. Yeah,
so
we've got pretty cool trick.
So now we can kind of trace the wires on and keep moving towards our ignition. Now,
yeah, and a lot of guys want to use, you know, check fuses and so forth. You just go to a battery source. Now, this should be a good 12-volt source, and you'll see it pop up on the screen right there, 12.5.
Yeah, now a good tip is, right, you're going to check both sides of that fuse to make sure the fuse isn't blown.
Right.
Real easy, you don't have to pull any of them out. Boom, boom, you're good. So you can scan down them, make sure you got power at the source, make sure you got power crossing the fuse. So I think from this point,
check our boy here.
Yeah, we're gonna
Ignition switch.
start going to the ignition switch. Maybe I'll print off a little wiring diagram so we kind of know what we're looking at here in this
that
big
looks
mess.
great.
So we'll be right back with that and keep on moving.
When you've purchased a used vehicle, there are a few things you want to do before you put that car on the road. First, make sure you've changed the fluids. You probably have no idea how well the previous owner took care of the maintenance items, and you'll also be unaware of how old the existing oil is in the crankcase. So before that oil change, protect your engine from harmful deposits with CRC motor treatment. This will help remove moisture left over from the old oil and fuel systems, and this will also help lubricate the engine components. Use CRC motor treatment every 3,000 miles. It works in both gasoline and diesel engines. This tip is brought to you by CRC Industries, makers of Brake Clean, the #1 brake parts cleaner.
All right, welcome back. Still in the 70 Challenger, having all kinds of fun diagnosing some real weird wiring problems. All right, so dive right in here. I got the ignition switch, pulling it apart now, and with our power probe hook, we'll be able to test a lot of cool things and get to the problem. So again, our battery reference line right here saying 12.5. Okay, we go over here to our ignition switch, and the ignition switch should say 12.5, 12.4, maybe show a little bit of resistance. So let's put it right on here. No, that's the red wire. Sure enough, 12.4. So I got volts there. That's good. Let's go to the ground. Now, the cool thing about this, you don't have to switch it or anything. It's got smart tip technology, so you just put it on what should be the ground wire, and you'll see some resistance showing ground. And I didn't have to hit a button, didn't have to switch anything, nothing. The tip figured it out, knew what kind of circuit it was, knew it was a ground circuit, and showed me the ohms rating on it. Now I'll switch over here to the yellow wire. Now a lot like its predecessors, Power Probe 3 and so forth, I could crank it up and power up like a starter. So let's see, I'm gonna hit this positive button right here, throw some power to it, see if we can hear this motor turn over. Listen. See, that's what I'm talking about. How about that? Just from a tool. All right, so now we know that that circuit is good. That means we have some issues maybe up in here. So we'll get to looking at this, see if we got some wires, something broke up in the ignition switch, or a faulty ignition switch right up here by the key.
Hey, welcome to today's Tech Tip, all about power steering systems. Now, we're familiar with the steering wheel and the column, and that's going to drive typically a rack and pinion. So it's going to take a rack of gears, a pinion, and drive both wheels left or right, depending on your input. Well, that's for manual, but you've got power steering, and what that means is you've got an additional system, a pump and a reservoir with hydraulic fluid, and inside this pump, building pressure is its own set of valves controlling that pressure to the rack. Well, on the rack side, internally, you've got some controls, some valves, some little orifices that actually control the amount of effort going into those wheels. So you don't put in a little bit of effort to change lanes and have your car fly to the left, but when you need that extra effort, it's being controlled in the rack. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in your system, from worn out parts, leaky seals, but you can imagine all these pumps working in conjunction with these small valves. The fluid is very critical and needs to be watched, maintained, and even changed. Typical service intervals are around 50,000 miles. You want to flush the fluid, especially if you change a component, flush that fluid. You can even add or change the filter in that system to keep everything running properly. Now, another good tip is you don't have to buy expensive parts from the dealer. You can get high quality remanufactured parts like these from Atco. Now, they're going to go through all the seals, all the wear surfaces, all the valves, and replace everything to OE specs. They're going to pressure test it, and it's all done right here in the USA. So next time you need any of your power steering system replaced, check out Atco at Federated Auto Parts.
Oh, yeah. Cab man, I think you're gonna love me, bro. It's just gonna be this easy. All right, get in here. Now, our boy Chris has been pushing this Challenger for like a year and a half. We've seen him out there sweating, just doing a little sanding here and there in the evenings. We saw it, as you can tell, it needs more than just sanding. We saw it, we're like, okay, let's at least get it running, help the guy out. So we narrowed the problem down to this ignition switch. Now, I'm thinking, bro, it's just this easy.
Yeah?
Got it in here, got the wires connected. Now, this is obviously gonna run up through the column and come in right here, but I'm thinking this is all she needed.
You're gonna light the fire?
I'm gonna light the fire.
All right.
Get ready for some s'mores, baby. You guys ready? Watch this, here we go.
Uh-huh. Yeah, all right, giving it gas. I can smell it.
Come on, baby. Hold on.
Oh, it's just dying. Let's get that charger on there for a couple minutes.
Yeah, it looks like we may have some more issues with the wiring, so we'll check this off as problem number 1 resolved. We'll take a quick break, come back and do some more diagnostics on it, find out what the issue is, man. So hang on. I thought that was it.
This segment of Two Guys Garage is brought to you by Stand, your premier manufacturer and supplier of thermostats and closure caps.
Do you think you can clean up some of that rat's nest in there, Willie?
I don't know, man. It's like a rat city up in here, rat neighborhood.
Hey, welcome back. Now we've got our power probe. We're going through, all the ignition system side. We, swapped out our ignition switch. So we've got the starter to kick on. We know we've got some fuel, but nothing will fire. So we're going to charge the battery a little bit because it was dying. I got a little accessory here that you can buy for these things. It's a nice extender, and then I've got a tungsten tip so it won't wear out. You don't have to resharpen it if you use the thing a lot. Now I'm going to skip forward here to the coil and see if I've got ignition power, because that should be coming from inside the cockpit there. And let me drop this guy on, and no. So it immediately switched to ohms. We're looking upside down here. But instead of volts, I should be seeing somewhere between maybe 9.5 and 11 volts as it goes to a ballast resistor. I'm getting just resistance, so it's looking at ground. So I'm not getting power. So maybe what I'll do is backtrack and see maybe where I've lost it. So somewhere up here I should see, there we go. Oof, a ballast resistor, but obviously this guy is banged around a little bit. So that might be a good hot spot. Let me look at the closest end of the coil, so after the resistor. And let's see. Once again, I'm kicking right into ohms or resistance to ground instead of seeing power. Let me check this side, and voila, I've got voltage. So I've probably got a disconnect or a break in this resistor. So that's my short, essentially. So maybe what I'll do, I can also check resistance on it, but that guy's definitely dead. Let me see if I can grab a resistor. I'll throw it on there, and I know I've got power pretty much through that guy up to the coil. We're getting closer to the spark plug. So, all right, let me get that going on, and I know Willie's got a little surprise for our buddy Chris going on the back of the car, so why don't you check that out.
All right. So our friends at Second Skin sent us all kinds of sound dampening stuff. And we know Chris is building this Challenger for his daughter, and he knows she's gonna have a stereo in it, so we're gonna hook him up in the back of it. Because again, they sent us all kinds of stuff. Let me show you some of the good stuff, okay? Now this is the Damplifier Pro. Now you can tell it's a butyl rubber on the front of it. Now what that is a man-made rubber. It's basically impermeable. Nothing gets through it. Latex gloves, that's the kind of rubber this stuff is. Now if you look at this foil, all right, that's the constraint layer, okay? Now that's thick enough, it's engineered thick enough and rigid enough so you get all that performance, but at the same time makes it really easy to install. And I'll show you that in just a second. And then this adhesive on the back of it, high temp adhesive, so regardless of how hot your surface gets, you know this stuff isn't gonna come off. Let me show you how easy this stuff is just to get on there. I'll just put a small piece right here, and you can apply it basically just like this and use any side of your roller. You could use the big side or this little short guy here. We're just gonna roll some in like this. Get her down there, and then we start getting all these little trenches with this side of it. So you just work it in, and after a little bit of time, you got everything covered, basically soundproofed up. All right, let's get this first little piece of Damplifier Pro down. All right, and you can see how easy that is to put in. Next up is our Spectrum spray. Now you could roll this on, or you could spray it on. And you want to hit, like, you know, the wells up in here, wheel wells and so forth, back up in here where you can't get those big pieces. Just whoosh, spray it in there. It's a high density viscoelastic spray. Now what's a high density viscoelastic spray? It's basically Kevin words for it knocks the snot out of anything sound related. All right? So again, spray it or you can roll it on. It's great stuff. And then you come over here. Now this is the Luxury Liner Pro. If you're inside the cab of your car and say you throwing down the Spectrum spray and you want a little more sound dampening, this is the stuff you're gonna go for. All right, it's thick, all right? It's a mass-loaded vinyl. It's self-foamed, super thick, super sound dampening. You're gonna have this inside the cab of your car or something like that. So our friends at Second Skin, anything sound-related, they're the guys to go to. I'm gonna get finishing up this trunk and get this thing buttoned up on the back end. Chris will have a nice little surprise.
So I've got my new ballast resistor on. I've rechecked my coil. I've got power on there, which is awesome. So I'm feeling a lot better about turning the key again. Now, what's pretty neat is we got to go through this car really quickly with the power probe, you know, and this new hook tool. And we could check everything from voltage, we can check integrity of wires, automatically look at grounds, resistance through there, and Will even was able to pulse the starter and actually drive the engine over a little bit to see if that was working. But if I don't have a smaller device, let's say, and I don't want to throw 65 amps in it, I can kick this thing down to 2 amps. So if I have a small device, a light bulb or whatever, I don't burn it up. Well, I can pulse it, I can latch it so it's always on, and I can do some diagnostics, or I can even have it pulse so I can, again, look for some features in the wire and maybe a break or something in the circuit. So anyway, there's a ton of features in here, lots to play around with, but you know, I think it's time to turn that key one more time. So let me clear out of here, watch all my fingers and toes. Hey, Will, you ready to fire this baby up?
Yeah, man. All right.
Let's do it.
Throw a little heat on it.
Right.
All right, man. Everybody clear?
I'm all about this one, man.
All right. Here we go. I'm stoked.
Let's do it.
Yeah, dog.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on. Oh. That's right.
Hug through the A-pillar.
If you ain't first, you're last.
For more information about anything you've seen in today's show, check out gactv.com or visit TwoGuysGarage.com.
Hey gang, welcome back. From Federated Auto Parts, the new TechSmart distributors handle all your V6 and V8 needs. Great stuff.
Yeah, they come with a lot of content. Now, this is the highest grade dielectric strength, so you're going to get all that energy content, all that power and timing to your spark plugs. Now, they also have high-grade steel. This is a 5120H distributor gear, so that's going to mesh with your cam, and you're going to have good, strong life. You're not going to get debris and stuff in your pan.
Yeah, they're also marine certified, so you know everything in here is good components. The seal is great. You can run them wherever you want, man. So check them out from Federated Auto Parts, the TechSmart distributor. Hey, look, when you're doing a brake job, you want to make sure you do the entire brake job properly. You don't want to put any of that old stuff back on your...
What's wrong with that, man? You can use that.
That's awful, man.
Put it on.
You want a new hardware kit from Carlson, all right? Because all kits aren't made equal. Trust me on
Yeah,
this.
now think about it. You just made a big investment.
Yeah.
You bought rotors, pads, maybe calipers. Well, think about the sliding friction, the surfaces that you're going to interface with between all these components.
Okay.
You want this rusty old guy, or do you want a brand new part? And it's not just new. You want to make sure the piece is quality fit. So it's design, it's engineering, it's manufacturing. And that's what Carlson Quality Brake Hardware is going to do, is make sure all these little bends, these little radiuses, right?
Yeah.
These all have to fit tight so everything slides properly, the pads retract, you get proper wear. You even get the coatings on the backside for noise. So check them out next time you do your brake hardware.
Yeah.
You know, make sure you pick out a good quality brand like Carlson, you know, quality brake parts.
Throw all that away.
And make sure your brakes are good. You know, one of our lifesaver tools from Las Vegas Tools, the Easy Puller, man. Man, you snatch on to just about anything and pow, that sucker's off.
This literally is one of those tools you have in your arsenal of tools, your toolbox you go to and you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad I got this thing. It's a time saver, it's a lifesaver. It gets in, it gives you an extra advantage point on anything that's stuck, won't come out, or hard to get to.
Well, it's those little things like little dowel pins, cotter pins, seals, Woodruff keys. You got to grab onto that sucker, but then you got to yank that thing
Right,
off there.
man.
And it's also good for body work.
Yeah, man, it makes a great little gift. So if you're thinking about that, somebody gets something in their shop, their garage, this is the tool to have by far. I'm just glad my dad didn't have one of these when he played that Gotcha Nose game.
Yeah,
'Cause you
He'd have done got it. So
All right.
done get yours from Las Vegas Tools. It's the Easy Puller. You know, if you've got an older, cool truck, man, you've got to check out Classic Parts of America because they've got everything to restore that thing, trick it out, fix it, keep it running, make it look good.
Yeah, and when he says everything, he means everything. Every bracket, every brace, every tail light lens, cover, you name it, they have it, and it's all broke out in specific model years, so you can find anything you need for your application.
Yeah, and get your free catalog or shop online.
Yep.
These guys have been in business for 30 years. They'll get your parts to you 1 to 3 days tops, and I think I like this catalog.
I like this one, this one, this one,
And that one.
and this one.
Yeah.
All right, it's Classic Parts of America. Check out their classic Chevy and GMC truck parts catalog.
Speaking of classics,
Yeah.
that Challenger,
Yeah.
it's quite a challenge.
Yes, it was, man. But it was fun. You got to get in there, see a new tool, see all the cool bells and whistles of the Power Probe hook. I liked it, man.
You know what? We're out of time, so we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.